while I switch back to the Japan trip one. There we go. Ridge Racers can go away now. So this is Go Go Nippon, version 2016. They released multiple versions of this game. The original one was for free on Steam during the visual novel sale earlier. And come to think of it, just going to check. Yeah, no, it's back up to $10 again. But they also released a version in 2015 and 2016. I haven't been back to Japan since 2015. And I think this 2015 version was actually released after my last trip to Japan. The original version was released in 2011. The art shows. So yeah, let's take a trip to Japan, let's learn Japanese, let's have waifus. Because these are waifus, alright? I should probably go ahead and update the stream. The original was the one you were thinking of? Yeah, I was curious, and it was only like about $2, so I bought the 2015 and 2016 expansions. This one, as you can see, is 2016, so it should be the most updated. You remember Team... I assume TF2 was Team Fortress 2 and not Titanfall 2. Players making fun of the original. I've been hanging out in Bry's stream from time to time, and they always use TF2 for Titanfall 2. The current exchange rate for USD to JPY is... It actually went down a little. Weeb trash Hellzone time. Definitely trash, definitely Hellzone. Unfortunately, very weeb. So, part of the game wants you to learn Japanese as you play, so it has a Japanese version of what you're saying on top of the English. And the idea is, this is your first do it hardcore and turn off the subs. I'm not translating. I refuse to translate. But the idea is that this is your very first trip to Japan. You've learned to speak Japanese with some pen pals over the internet named Akira and Makoto. And also just by like playing games, reading anime, reading manga, watching anime, you know, all the usual weeb shit. You downloaded it and it was not helpful because of English. Good thing we're not using this to learn to learn Japanese. I wouldn't say use this to learn Japanese. Use this to like make fun. You don't think the original had that? The original definitely had this. I've tried. The original definitely had both of these. I just want to point out that this airplane cabin, because this is an airplane cabin, has the overhead bins very unsecured. I'm not sure I want to ride this airplane. This is an airplane, yeah. It's supposed to be an airplane. You're flying to Japan. You plan to sleep on the plane, so you'd have plenty of energy. but you haven't felt tired this whole time. Only now. ... or dash. You suddenly feel really exhausted. But they are now beginning their descent. They ask you to fasten their seatbelts at this time. Also, please reach for the handy-dandy helmets located right under your seat because those bags are going to fall all over the top of your head, especially if you're in the aisle seat. I guess the bag fell on top of our head. I'm not reading the whole thing line by line, but we're finally realizing our dream of coming to Japan. Everyone's gonna be hit mid-flight by bags from minor turbulence. Yeah, every flight I've flown on lately has had a lot of turbulence. So, we've landed here in Narita Airport. I can confirm, at least, that this is what Narita Airport looks like. I've spent a couple of hours here trying to get my bearings and trying to figure out which kiosk I should head to in order to pick up my SIM card for Japan. Like, specifically this area. That landmass below us must be Japan! As we say while the background shows Narita Airport. We've been saving up our money and diligently studying Japanese, all in preparation for this day. We are a true weeb. This is our beloved Japan. But first, because we're going to be in Japan for a week, we'll be doing a homestay with our pen pals, Makoto and Akira. They were thrilled to hear that we were finally coming to Japan and invited us to stay at their home. So now we have to meet up with the two of them. They're supposed to meet us at the airport, but we don't see them in the crowd anywhere. You can tell this is a female voice because the speech bubble is pink. The character says this out loud and several Japanese people shake their head or flinch. Those are some balloons she has. So, I want to point out that we've learned Japanese well enough to be able to speak it to Japanese people. Lowercase Zoku. Yeah, I typed my name as Zoku, all lowercase. No, that's not my name. Ah, やっぱり良かったわ。ひょっとして行き違っちゃったと思っちゃった。She's speaking very casually. I guess because they're online pen pals. So she definitely does not look like either of the silhouettes we were expecting. And neither does this person. So the idea is Makoto's good in English and Japanese. We speak Japanese and English. Akira does not speak a lick of English. She's terrifying. Akira does not speak a lick of English. So here she's saying, nice to meet you. My name is Akira Misaki. Like this I'm not good at doing bad accents. She's doing a bad accent. And the game tries to replicate that for you. She's got Toru Honda hair. Why is she hiding water balloons in her jumper? I think this is past security. This is before security. Because you can't get past security if you don't have a ticket in most airports. That includes Japan. Of course, we were not expecting girls. We were not expecting our first harem adventure. I refuse to be reading this every single time, so uh, you can read that out loud to yourselves. But yes, we thought they would be guys. We're gonna skip ahead. Aren't Makoto and Akira boys' names in Japan? So this is. How do I best put this? Point number one as to why you're a fucking weeb. You know Japanese to speak Japanese, but you don't know a lick of the culture. Makoto and Akira are both very, very commonly girls' names. But you're basing everything you know about Japan in the manga you've read and the anime you've watched. Oh, she gets closer! So, who reads manga, watches anime, and thinks Makoto is only a boy's name? Apparently our dude does. And yes, our dude is a dude because he's very excited about staying in a house with two girls. And a girl would definitely know about the Sailor Jupiter thing. Makoto can be both male or female. I've actually seen more female characters with the name Makoto than male characters. But yeah, Makoto is also a boy's name in anime as well. So Misaki knows English because she's studying English literature, and apparently she actually studies the language instead of just reading translations of it. Meanwhile, Akira's still trying to use English with us. And she's not very happy. Because she's both Sun, and also, we thought she was a guy. And she's at that age, apparently. So here we're told we should be speaking Japanese because her English sucks. Let's not mince words. Her English sucks. And that's also why you get this thing here. Why didn't she speak English in the chat room? Everything was translated by Balloons Girl. So yes, to get to their house, we have to go into Tokyo first. I think this game mostly takes place in Tokyo. Maybe a couple of the other major cities like Osaka and Kyoto. Because I've definitely seen Kinkakuji, and that's in Kyoto. But Narita Airport, despite being the closest airport to Tokyo, is not in Tokyo. It's in Chiba. It's about like an hour away from Tokyo. So this game also serves as a guide to, hey, you want to travel to Japan? Here's some handy dandy tips. We're just going to go ahead and skip to that. Japan definitely does not have a lot of free Wi-Fi spots. Also, Suica, which is basically their transportation card. It's an IC card. And you can touch it to ticket readers at train stations, for buses, at McDonald's and 7-Elevens. It's really fucking great. If you ever go to Japan, get a Suica. If you're in the southern side, it's called a Passmo. Make sure you get them. This part is so detailed to talk about at the airport. Why didn't they tell him before he came out? I mean, They should have fucking told him that they were girls before they came out. Suica is really dangerous though. It's so convenient. You can use it to pay for shit at almost like any convenience thing. Fast food, convenience stores. And you don't need to manually calculate, as it says. You just tap it when you enter the train station, tap it again when you leave. It automatically removes it. Yeah, and you can use it on vending machines too. It's true. I recommend you get the Suica instead of the Passmo because I think personally that the Suica has cooler designs. But as you can see, there are lots of different ones like the Toika, the Ikoka, the Kitaka, Sugoka. You'll notice that they mostly end with ka. The ka is short for card. Manaka, Mimoka. But yeah, all companies basically have their own cards. But they're interchangeable. And he's just putting money on the card. They're interchangeable. And it's very similar to, say, if you play music games, the E-Amuse card. That is for Konami's stuff. Dance Dance Revolution, Dance Rush Stardom, U-Beat, Beat Mania 2DX, that jazz. I'm going to skip this. Just going to go ahead and click this because we want to get to traveling Japan. We don't want to talk about traveling to Japan. But those cards are pretty interchangeable. So, like, you can use Mimo or Aimi, which is the Sega card, on, say, an Initial D machine. Like, as long as you've registered them on the websites. And this is a train station. There are multiple lines. I think this is Shinjuku. Pretty sure this is Shinjuku. But there are multiple lines. These colored lines all mark different tracks on the JR. Pretty sure the light green is usually the Yamanote line. Oh, this is Tokyo Station. My bad. It's been like 5 years, 4.5 years since I've been to Japan. I need to go back. But not this year, apparently, because Japan has barred all entry from the United States due to COVID-19. So yeah, train stations in Japan tend to be pretty nicely kept. They do not always have stores and restaurants and souvenir shops, but the bigger ones definitely do. They're practically mini malls. And the biggest ones, like Tokyo and Shinjuku, let you interconnect between subways and the JR, which is more of like a regular train. And there are different kinds of subways too. I just can't remember the different names right now. Like so, right now they're connecting to the subway to their home. He somehow forgot they were going to their home. Whackdonald's. Can I No, I can't really skip. So they're talking about the vending machines and convenience stores, which are really the most convenient thing. They put the footnotes in Japanese too. You'll take Tsundere little sister over horny for Ne-chan little sister. All little sisters are horny for Ne-chan though. Apparently it's a thing. So these two sisters apparently live together in their own home. With no parents around. I got an achievement for for hitting this point. We are home alone with two cute girls. No parents. Our first harem adventure. He's a gentleman. He's a gentleman. Apparently, she's been cooking the food. He couldn't have paid for a goddamn Airbnb. Well, I mean, one, he thought they were guys, because he didn't think to ask or confirm that. And two, Tokyo was cracking down on Airbnbs. Like, you have to have a license to be able to run an Airbnb. In 2016? No, you're right. It was more like 2017 or 2018. Because I definitely stayed at an Airbnb while I was there. While at Yokoari. Day 1. Day 1 is apparently its own achievement. We wake up. We have a bit of a freak out, wondering where we are. And we get introduced. We get introduced to a bidet. I'm a little disappointed it wasn't a squatty potty. Don't push random buttons on a bidet. Because that can happen. We just got splashed with water that was meant to clean our asshole. Akira is really loving that shit. We are kind of disappointed that breakfast is just salad, bread, and eggs. He was hoping for a more healthy Japanese-style breakfast. If you want a Japanese-style breakfast, I hope you like fish. It usually involves fish. Cooked fish. Anyway, we get a choice of our guides as we go around. Only one of them can guide us at a time because the other person has to homestead. Apparently, you can't just leave the house. You can't just lock up and go around. It's not like Japan's a safe country or anything. They even have tour guide uniforms. And this is what we saw on the main screen. The tomboy is apparently very housework inclined because she also made these costumes. Or she likes cosplay. She can't zip up her... It's true, she can't zip up her jacket. Should probably take those balloons out. Alright, so we can choose where we want to go to. you can see, depending on the place we go, we'll see which of the girls will guide us. Tsukiji, a giant market known as Tokyo's Kitchen. Not only is it popular among industry professionals, but by regular people too. It's where the fish market is held with all the auctions. Kabukiza is a theater for the traditional Japanese art form, kabuki, and it's right by Ginza, which is the high-class shopping district. This Tokyo means Tokyo Station, not Tokyo. Akihabara, you've probably heard of if you're a weeb. It's got all the games and anime and shit, and the maid cafes. Ueno is known for its zoo, the park, and American shopping street Ameyokocho. Asakusa has the big lantern gate Kaminarimon, and it's known for the shrine that I can't remember right now, even though I go to Asakusa every time I go to Japan. You'd think I would remember this by now. That's why I'm Googling it real quick. Sensoji, there we go. Wow, it's been a while. Shitamachi is ancient Japanese downtown. Tokyo Skytree is, well, you can see it's a broadcast tower, has a shopping mall, aquarium, planetarium, also an observation deck. Yanaka is another one of those old-timey Japanese downtown areas. Rikugien is a Japanese garden. Ikebukuro is known for being where the female otaku go, especially if you like boys love stuff, and butler cafes. It also is home to Ikebukuro Sunshine City, which has Namja Town, the indoor amusement park run by Bandai Namco, with a gyoza, like with a street where you could try different kinds of gyoza and different kinds of ice cream. I don't know if that part is in the game though. Shinjuku is the largest business district, known as the city that never sleeps. Kabukicho, which is home to a lot of host clubs, and you've probably seen in Yakuza games, also in Shinjuku. Nakano is a different kind of vibe, but also home for a lot of anime shit. Mount Takao is a climbable mountain. Shibuya is where The World Ends With You is set. And Roppongi, it says it's a district characterized by high-class stores and office building, and it's on par with Shinjuku for the nightlife. The thing it's not mentioning is that it's also where a lot of the expats go. So if you're a foreigner in Japan, like living in Japan, a lot of the expat focus clubs are in Roppongi. That said, Kizuna says she wants to go to Nakano. Monday's mentioned the mountain. Koyos is like, buy more Tway, but I don't think that's a vote for Shibuya. So gotta avoid the expat areas. So let's start with Nakano. Nakano is a rather unusual choice, she tells the weeb. So we get the little sister showing us around. She unfortunately only really knows about the weeb places. So, welcome to Nakano. Can I also hide the girl? I would like to hide the girl. I guess that's not happening. So Nakano has a lot of the subculture stories. It is very anime and manga focused. Akiba is probably more likely to have games, if video games is your jam. And Broadway is the most famous part. Funny thing, if you click that Google map, it actually calls up the Google map view of this place. Like so. So this is what Nakano Broadway, or the inside of Nakano Sun Plaza, looks like. The train reminded you of a Cursed Nancy Drew game that has a fucked up version of the Japanese train lines. We're gonna be seeing a lot of that train, apparently. So we're getting some history for Nakano Broadway. But I like how this is clearly a photo with some Photoshop filters on it. Digimon Cyber Sleuth takes place in that building. Good to know. Also on the backlog. So we're getting excited about Nakano Broadway and all the stores and shit. That said, we can't buy any of it. So, well, I'm skipping ahead through all that. We kept her waiting. We got lost after leaving the bathroom, went wandering on our own, and we kept her waiting. Bets on how angry she's gonna be when we find her. She knows. If you ever make your way to Hong Kong, which is an area I'm also pretty familiar with, I'm gonna lower the music a little. Wan Chai also has a lot of stores, computer stores and game stores, that are fairly similar to Nakano in that it's built to cram in as many tenants as possible, but these are more like little hole-in-the-wall stores all crammed in the same building, with like low ceilings and winding stairways. Alright, chat. Here's a poll. Do we want to eat seafood or meat? I could probably set up a poll. But that's too much trouble. So Koyo says meat. We're going with meat. Luckily, Kizuna also says meat. We're going with meat. It's making me pretty hungry, actually. Gyudon steak, hamburger steak, tonkatsu. We're gonna have tonkatsu, apparently. If you ever do go to Japan, don't be afraid of the fast food chains. Like, you can get good food for cheap, real easy. Maybe not as cheap as like $6. It's probably a little closer to at least $10. But $10 for like a full meal. Like we're talking rice, soup, deep fried pork chops, cabbage, pickles. That's a really good deal. It might just be me living in New York City, but I feel like that's a really good deal because I would have to pay like $16 for something similar. McDonald's in Tokyo Station has some English-speaking staff. It's true. Like a lot of the younger generations aren't afraid to speak English now. But if you speak with someone from the older generation, they will panic and try to get out of speaking English, even when you speak to them in Japanese. This is a fact. When I went to Tokyo Tower for the first time, I walked through a back entrance. This is basically becoming Zoku tells stories about her Japan trips, and we see a Weeb Games interpretation of Japan time. But yeah, when I went to Tokyo Tower for the first time, possibly the only time, I walked in through the back entrance of the parking lot because I was basically following Google Maps. So I wasn't sure if this was the right way to enter or if I should go in through a different entrance, because it didn't look like there was a ticket booth. It was just like an empty parking lot because it was the back and everything. So I walked up to the parking attendant. Hey, P. I walked up to the parking attendant and I spoke to him in Japanese. I was like, hi, sorry, I'm a tourist. Like, I'm a foreign tourist. Is it okay if I go in this way, or do I have to go around the front? And by this way, I meant like the back entrance. And he said something really fast. Bear in mind, this is like my first time going to Japan. Not really confident in my Japanese comprehension ability. So I was like, sorry, could you say that one more time, but slowly? Slowly? I didn't say anything in English. I said this all in Japanese. He looks at me, thinks it over, and then just gestures for me to go straight ahead. Because he didn't want to bother trying to speak it in English. Like, I spoke in Japanese. He had no way of knowing if I was like an American tourist. Thank you for the host screen. But he had no way of knowing if I was like an American tourist, which I was, a Chinese tourist, Taiwanese tourist, a Korean tourist. I'm Asian. I'm really using the all Asians look the same thing here. Or, like, I only said that I was a foreign tourist, and could you please repeat that one more time, but slowly? He was just like, no, go ahead. You can go that way. You can go that way, but to buy tickets, you have to go around the front. And now you know, chat. Don't make my same mistake. Anyway, we had lunch. We had lunch and we go back to Nakano Broadway. If you like used goods, it also can't hurt to go visit a book off or so. Most of you know about my Tokimeki Memorial guidebooks, like the really thick-ass guidebooks. I got them for like 300 yen in a book off. It's pretty great. Japanese people take a really good care of their stuff. So I paid like $3 for those thick-ass books. Like, there's also expensive stuff, for sure. When you were in Germany, you literally used, I would like to buy, I would like to order, where's this train, and where's the bathroom in German. Those are all important phrases, but especially that last one. The only Spanish I still remember to this day is donde está el baño? Pretty sure el baño. Not la baña, el baño. So yes, those are very important phrases. If you have an allergy, you can get little printout cards. Japan doesn't do so hot with allergies, but you can get little printout cards online now saying, I'm allergic to X. or I have these dietary restrictions. And you can just hand it to whatever restaurant staff, and they can help point out whatever's good for you. Now you gotta learn them in French. Very important, yes. Do they deal with penicillin in any way, shape, or form? I'm pretty sure there is a penicillin allergy card. Because they definitely have that like in all sorts of different languages. You can't eat blue cheese. That's about it. No, I mean, I don't want to say you're missing out on much. Blue cheese is pretty great, but you're not missing out on too much there. You've only been to Italy outside of American Travel Monday? I mean, you didn't speak the language in the hotel as a kid. Yes, I know that feeling. I I don't ever want to travel somewhere where I can't speak the language ever again. This is our dude enforcing some bad stereotypes. In that, oh, I would think the older sister, the one with the big boobs, would be a bit more feminine and better at cooking, but I guess she's pretty feminine, and also it's dangerous for a girl to walk around alone at this time of night. No, it isn't. I've walked around at like 2 a.m. As long as you have a good head about you, you'll be pretty okay. Boy didn't know what an apron was. Tablier? Forgive my French. I had like 6 months of French lessons when I was 12. Like for me, the most important phrase that I needed to know when I went to France last year was Kir Royal, s'il vous plaît. That was it. Give me my cocktail. So yes, here we are learning that Japan is pretty safe at night. We unfortunately do not show you the inside of a supermarket. It's still a market. Akira welcomes us back with okaeri. We say tadaima. But, you know, if we really needed food, like late at night, yes, you could totally go to a convenience store at 3 a.m. Japan is so fucking convenient, guys. The only inconvenient part is the xenophobia. Scented candle is bougie parfumé, I think. Okay, let's get right past this. There we go. Can we get a slap for that, please? It's an overdrive VN. Oh, speaking of VN, if you were around when I was playing Raging Loop, I finished the main story late last week, like I think Sunday-ish. Strongly recommend that you buy and play it if you get the chance to. Like, wait for it to go on sale. Sure, whatever. But it's a really good story. Anyway, awkward shit. Let's get breakfast. Today's breakfast is the rice, miso soup, and apparently only rice and miso soup that we asked for. You're waiting for a sale, Pancat? Good. Good. Strongly recommend. Alright. Monday said they wanted to go to a mountain, so we're gonna go to the mountain this time. You know what the map was missing? Odaiba, yeah! 2 things missing from this map is Odaiba and Tokyo Disneyland. You can give me shit for the second one. I just really like Disney. But Odaiba is its own little island. It's a man-made island in the Tokyo harbor. And it's literally an amusement area. It's got major TV stations, it's got indoor amusement parks, like a giant Ferris wheel. One of my favorite photos that I've ever taken was of the Odaiba Ferris wheel. Oh yes, it does have the giant Gundam as well. This is not a photo I took of the giant Ferris wheel, but it's a pretty damn good photo. So I'm going to switch over and show you the Odaiba Ferris wheel in Palette Town. It lights up all pretty and shit at night. You're super iffy about the other Disneylands because you'd rather explore Japan than go to the overpriced theme park? That's fair. Gonna point out a couple things, Green. One, Tokyo is home to Disney Sea, which is the only Disney theme park of its kind. They specifically created Disney Sea for Japan. The story goes that the people in Japan wanted another version of Disneyland, like right down to the castle of the 7 lands. And Disney's Imagineers had to go, no you don't, it's right next to Disneyland. And Japan was like, yeah, we really want to go. We really want to have like another Disneyland, like right next to our first Disneyland. So, the Imagineers were kind of like, okay, look, here's something we came up for you. You got 7 lands, just like the 7 lands of Disneyland, but they're all themed around the 7 seas of the world. You've got the Mediterranean. You've got, pretty sure there was like an Asian sea or something like that. Like, my memories are vague. But like, 7 seas of the world. There's a main part, Port Discovery or something like that, that imitates Main Street. And in the center, you have the volcano. The volcano is your castle. It's big, it's eye-catching, and it's pointy on top. It does get very crowded at certain times of the year, so matching t-shirts to keep track of where your friend and you are is a great idea. I would definitely strongly recommend you try out Disney Sea at least. The other thing about Tokyo Disney is that it's run by the Oriental Land Company, which is not Disney. You could think of it as like they franchise Disney. So, because they bought the rights to run their own Disney, and back in like the 80s or something like that, and because it's Japan, their service standards there are all 80s Disney. So, like all that surface levels, like the cleanliness, the smiliness, it's all really, really classic. It's a very different experience. So, if you have the money to, if you have the time to, I would strongly recommend at least visiting Disney Sea. You got disenchanted on our Disney places years ago. It's really fucking beautiful. And I know I'm a freaking Disney park freak here saying that, but let me show you pictures of Tokyo Disney Sea. Like at night, the harbor all lights up. The volcano actually explodes. You can go inside the volcano, and it's this whole steampunk themed land. It's called Mysterious Island. All the parades and shows are in Japanese. It's really fucking hilarious. If you don't know Japanese, it might get a little confusing. But also, when I went, I was with friends who did not know Japanese. I was a Japanese translator. And one of them didn't like rides at all. They still had fun. Like here's Ariel's Grotto once it decides to load. Picture. Ariel's Grotto is basically their version of a kiddie park. But the inside of Ariel's Grotto, like see, like their whole, this main port is like the canals of Venice themed. They have like a New York section. This is inside the volcano. Let me go find Ariel's Grotto, because that's an indoor section along with being the kid part. Like pictures of the inside, it's all lit up. Mermaid Lagoon, here we are. It's all lit up inside, and you can explore Ariel's Cave of Treasures, including this Prince Eric statue. And it's apparently a thing for Japanese girls to just sort of hang on to the statue in a dramatic pose while they pose for pictures. Anyway, strong recommend. Whether or not you know Japanese, hopefully you kind of like Disney or you like theme parks, definitely go to this theme park. I also want to just think one more thing. If I scroll down far enough, can I find a different land? Because I sure as hell don't remember the names of the lands. Apparently not. But yes, definitely recommend. Just look at this. And again, super, super clean. Back to the game. Where we're climbing up a mountain and not Disney. Sorry for the for the aside. Even if you don't go on this trip, just like if you plan it for another trip, you know. This is a very, very janky looking train ride. So to take our trip from the Tokyo station to Takaosanguchi station, it was $9.77. We're keeping track of how much it costs. The game is like basically planning it for you. Things have probably changed just from 2016. Here is the thing for you to examine in closer detail. This looks like a stone statue version of a Tengu mask, like the mask with the really long nose. You've probably seen it in stuff like Dead or Alive, or possibly Onimusha. Tengu are like mountain gods. Takaosanguchi. So we took a lift to get up the mountain. We were apparently numbnuts who slipped while getting on the chair, even though it's a ski lift. How do you not know what yokai are if you learn Japanese through anime? I wish I could tell you, Pancat. I really wish I could. Our dude's an idiot, is all. And it looks like I've never been to Takao-san, so I've never been on these lists. But it looks like there's no seatbelts or anything, so you know, you just don't want to swing. So here's Mount Takao. We've got a trail to walk along. As always, the ever-handy Google Map button shows you what it looks like if you were to go along the path. And since this is Google Maps, we can also travel up along the paths, just stalking these two ladies as we go. I want to see the point where we overtake them. I guess it's a drone, because she's pointing us out, like from below. We are traveling around with the Animu. Yes, we are. Okay, we've definitely overtaken the ladies at this point. Even children can climb Mount Takao, so, you know, don't chicken out halfway, we're being told. And we're gonna go see the monkey zoo. Animals apparently stink. As always, this is what it looks like in real life, according to Google Maps. We can even see inside. No, we can't. Can we? Can we? Are you letting me click in? No, you're not. I can only go to side. That's unfortunate. The mascots look like old men, just ignoring us. We walk all the way up to Joshinmon, which is the big old gate. This big old gate. We can continue to stalk people, but I'm not really gonna do that. So Aesthetics did their training on the top of this mountain, which we did not climb. And we are taking the men's path, the men's hill. She offered us the chance to take the ladies' path. But we were like, we're a man, so we're gonna take the men's path. The ladies' path was probably less steep. And of course, we have a temple. So at shrines, there's always this station right here. I wonder if it'll let me get closer. Not really, we just kind of zoomed right past it. This little stand has like little dipping ladles that you can scoop out water and sort of purify or cleanse yourself with. Pour water over your hands, pray, that kind of jazz. There's a whole thing to it. I just don't remember what the thing is. In fact, here we are talking about it, the Chozuya, where we wash our hands. We hit something way too hard, though. So there are money boxes where you can make offerings in temples, and right now I'm just making sure I'm going in the right way in this temple. Pretty sure this is. Yeah. So, you know, to pray for good luck and blessings and all that jazz. And also, there are always these little stands here. Here we are. That sell souvenirs. That's what these are in this case. They're manju, little baked buns with red bean paste. This is senbei, which is rice crackers. And also, I think further in, or maybe we went the other way. Yeah, maybe we went the wrong way. I want to go there. Yes, there we go. This is where I want. There are always these little stores right here, selling good luck charms and all that jazz. You can see bracelets, little rope loops, incense. Google Ghost phase through important objects. There's a trick art museum, which is one of those, in this particular place, which is one of those optical illusion places. But the thing I'm trying to find for, oh, this is donuts, is I think this is probably the stand. Usually there's a stand where you can buy the little good luck charms in pouches that you so often see. Yeah, here are. Little good luck charms in pouches that you so often see in anime. And also, there's a little thing where you can draw a fortune. That's what this is. The omikuji. You put some money in the offering box, you put your hand in, pull out a piece of paper. In other places, you shake out a stick, then you hand the stick off to someone, and they give you the piece of paper that's that correlates with the number on the stick. Japan. Thriving business on everything. Apparently, we have a lot of offerings to make. We're only in the entrance, and we've used up all our change, making offerings. It's not even noon yet. Apparently the path got a tiny bit steeper as we were heading up though. And here's the summit. You can see Mount Fuji on a clear day from the top of Mount Takao. And we're gonna have lunch while we're up here. Because why not? Apparently, we had... It's not mentioning what we had. They mentioned a soba restaurant while I was skipping ahead. We're greeting people as we go down. You do not have to greet everyone as you go down. Japan and the Japanese do like to keep to themselves. We had mountain oxygen. Delicious. Yeah, apparently we did. It was free, too. That's important. You're more interested in the Google Street View? This is still the Google Street View. Like, it still says Mount Takao on there, so it was still going to be the same thing where we stalked the two ladies. Oh, wait. I didn't change the browser. Here. Here you are. This is the Google Street View. It would still say Mount Takao on there. But let's skip ahead. Past the rickety bridge. And back to the station. So we can head home and off to the next day. It still doesn't say what we ate. So they're talking about ads on the train. I'm not sure what is so interesting about ads on a Japanese train. Because I feel like they're fairly common. But I could be wrong. Just as an example, though, this is what the inside of a Japanese train, like this, the one that they're riding on, the JR line, looks like. You've got these ads sort of hanging like right there in the middle, and then ads on the top and ads here as well. But usually, definitely a lot of ads just like dangling from the center. In this case, Nonno and Traveler here, they're both for magazines. You get a lot of magazine and newspaper ads on the trains. This one is for Kirin beer. I don't think I need to translate Kirin beer. You like the foreigners in that picture? In in this picture? Looking like, why are we having pictures of us taken? Here's some more inside of Japanese trains. This thing here is smoking manners for adults. I just thought that was funny. So there's apparently a festival with Japanese fireworks going on, but it's in the opposite direction of where we're heading, which is home. But since we're on our way back, and since we know it's happening, they're thinking of seeing it from home while eating watermelon. Sadly, we don't really get to see any of it, apparently. Oh, here's our fireworks. Fans, the Uchiwa is what it's called. Watermelon, fireworks, a very summer combination. In case you wondered what season this takes place in. When we did the Toki Memo stream, I went over Kaguya and Tamaya, which is the names of two Japanese, famous Japanese fireworks making companies. So you would yell the name of the company whose fireworks you liked better. That was long ago. Now it's just yelling it for the sake of yelling it. Looking suddenly different art style. As long as she's not shoving her boobs in our face, you know? She's talking about salt on watermelon now. And apparently we're getting a little bit of romance with her. But we're not trying to do a dating sim here. We're just trying to travel Japan real quick. We have a week to travel, and we're on day 3. Let's do this, chat. Uh-oh. If we have to wake her up. And we're skipping this. Nope. Nope. Did not skip fast enough. Every game is a dating sim if we've tried hard enough. I can't escape dating sims. It really is. She got her revenge on us by making our coffee full of salt. We're actually drinking the salt coffee. We actually drank the salt coffee. I think our affection points went up. Alright, so we did Nakano, we did Mount Takao. Anywhere else you want to go, chat. Shibuya is, by the way, is not only the home of The World Ends With You, it is also the home of 428 Shibuya Scramble, as you may have been able to tell from the game's name. Tsukiji is where they do the big old tuna auction. Ueno has the pandas. You went outside to close your chicken pen and an owl flew over you. Like super low. Oh, that sounds scary. Kizuno wants to go to the Wii place. Okay. We'll do Shibuya, then Ikebukuro, and then Tsukiji, in that order. And then we probably have 2 more days after that to zoom through. Owls don't make noise when they fly? Really? That's a young person's town. Alright guys, ready for some World Ends With You? We start off with Hachiko. Food for Monday. And of course, cause we gotta, this is Hachiko in real life. If we see any red pins, you're out. Okay, but what if you see a girl dressed in white waiting here? Like, holding a briefcase, looking real sad. You know? And what if she just happens to look like someone inside the Tama costume? You can see like all these tourists are taking pictures of Hachiko. But it's also a very tackle her. But it's also a fairly common meeting spot just because everyone knows where this is. The first time I came out of Shibuya Station, I found the dog. I wasn't even looking for the dog. I found the dog. Pet statue, then furiously wash his hands. Yes, that is a very smart choice to do in this day and age. So yes, today we're going around Shibuya. This is in Persona 5? It probably is. Persona 5 is also in my backlog. I pre-ordered it I keep mentioning the last time I went to Japan was in like 2005. Sorry, 2015. I ordered Persona 5 back then. I got it when it finally came out like 2 years later. Maybe like 2.5 years later. Because I pre-ordered it. I still haven't played it. Because I ordered the PS4 version and I only have a PS3. Anyway, here's Hachiko. We get an achievement for seeing Hachiko. And Hachiko is known for being a super fucking loyal dog. This statue memorializes Hachiko, but Hachiko is actually buried elsewhere in a cemetery. Like right next to, I think, her owner? His owner? I forget what gender Hachi is. We're skipping the story. Yeah, we are. If you really need to know the story, let me know and I will say it. We're also seeing the Shibuya Crossroads here in the background. You have seen the Scramble Crossing in 428 Shibuya Scramble. In fact, that's where the Shibuya Scramble gets its name from. Well, 428 Shibuya Scramble. You've probably also seen it in The World Ends With You. Because it's the one, this is the spot where Neku first yells, like, just leave me alone. 109 is Maru-Q. And Maru-Ichi right behind it. Also both in The World Ends With You. This is a Starbucks coffee. I just want to zoom in on that. Tsutaya is a rental shop, mostly CDs, but also games and movies. So yeah, lots of big billboards. Lositan. Is that? That might be Nogizaka, an idol group. This is also an idol group. This is Arashi. It is also very dizzying zooming in and out from like that angle. We are seeing Shibuya Scramble from the perspective of the cars because it was a Google streetcar that took this image. But you can already see all the people like just waiting to cross at like each corner of the intersection. Can I go there? Yeah, all the people waiting to cross. This is in Cyber Sleuth? I believe it. Basically, if there's a game set in modern day Japan, it will definitely have Shibuya in there, because this is an immediately recognizable landmark. Forever 21 is probably no longer there. Forever 21 went bankrupt in Japan. How are there no constant car crashes? I mean, each street light, each part has its own street light. The only thing that crosses like this are like the intersection for the people. So like the cars go this way, the cars going this way have their own light. You can see the light here. And the cars going this way have their own light, much like in any intersection. Achi's not always running through traffic. Thank goodness. Oh, I just realized I was using the browser. But yeah, okay, so the cars going this way and the cars going that way have their own street lights. You can see that street light there. And, like, the intersection is the only weird thing. Shibuya Scramble Crossing. It's so famous it's used in all kinds of movies, dramas, and games. Including the game named after it. So we're gonna cross with the crowd, but we can't actually do that. Just imagine someday if you go to Japan, you'll be able to. We are crashing into people because we're not very good at weaving through people. And here's Center Guy. Huh. When I click the Google Map link, it shows me Shibuya Station. As you can see, Shibuya Station. Does this tell me which way is Center Guy? It does not. I need like one of those signposts to tell me which way Center Guy is. That's Noren Guy. Well, you can pretend you have been into Shibuya Station then. Bathroom and baby room. Oh, here we are. Here's the guide. The guide that you can't really read, but you can see. It'll tell you, hey, if you're aiming to go to this street, you want these exits. Or if you want certain landmarks, like Maru-Q, which is the shopping mall. We're playing this. Where's Tama? Tama is in the chat. I unfortunately don't see anything for Center. Oh, here we are. Center Guy is exit 6. And as you can see, you don't really need to know Japanese to get around in a major city like Tokyo. This is all in English. You can download apps to help you navigate Tokyo in English as well. That said, I don't see exit 6 anywhere around here. I wanted to show you guys Center Guy because that's where we are there. but instead we have exits 4 and 5. Let's see if I can pull out 6 from here. Not 6, 2. Let's go here. Koendori. Oh, here we are, center guy. So this is center guy. It doesn't look like much because we're standing in the middle of a bunch of closed shops. But you can see there's a lot of shops as we walk along, and restaurants. You like how they haven't edited the ghosts out? So as you saw on like the little Google Street Map I pulled out underneath, we were having a hard time with the crossing. This was Hachiko. Here. And then the crossing was Nishiguchi. Hachiko, and the crossing was somewhere that I cannot find. Oh well. Pretty sure the crossing would be like here. But I'm probably wrong about that. But we're bad at walking, so she decided to duck into here. Sensogai used to be a river. I think Achi may have talked about this in Shibuya Scramble. They mentioned Yamamba girls, which used to be a popular trend. Used to. Like, long ago used to. This is what a Yamamba girl looks like. There's Ganguro, which is... Ganguro is kind of like a... Ganguro is sort of more lighter skin. Like, this is Ganguro. This is Yamamba. With all the heavy-ass makeup and shit. Again, Ganguro. Yamamba. Like, this is also Yamamba. I'm not, like, intentionally pulling out, like, the ugliest images. I'm just clicking what I have here. But as you can see, Yamamba emphasizes very heavily the darker skin and the white eyes around. Like, to emphasize the eyes and shit. Is it legal to pat the Hachiko statue? You know, I've never seen anyone pat the Hachiko statue. I'd have to imagine it's possible to do it. It's also really fucking dirty, probably. And here we are at Shibuya Meiji Jingu. The Meiji Shrine. Very empty, wide space. There's a lot of ceremonial shit that goes around here. Here's another one of those stores selling charms and shit. Also, Meiji Shrine, while they link it to Shibuya, is actually much closer to Harajuku. Here we are. Meiji Shrine, while they link it to Shibuya, is much closer to Harajuku. It's got its own spot in Yoyogi Park and everything. Harajuku you probably know as a place where all the Lolita and the goth loli, the punk rock attire is. They actually recently changed Harajuku Station. This is Shibuya. And this is Harajuku. Again, Shibuya and Harajuku. We just walked from here to here. So maybe we'll get to see Harajuku. But Meiji Shrine here, not only is it wide and very ceremonial, every year the main coming of age ceremony is held here. In Japan, you become an adult when you turn 20. And there's a large coming of age ceremony on the year that you turn 20. Harajuku is a fashion place. I do not know if Google Maps has the new Harajuku station yet. Harajuku Eki. Maybe it just won't let me use Japanese. Alright, so this is the old Harajuku station. It's got, as you can see, it's fairly charming. Old school style building. And it's not Google Maps, but this is what the new one looks like. They changed it from this to this for the Tokyo Olympics, and amongst other things. Harajuku is primarily known as a fashion place for Takeshita-dori, Takeshita Street. If it would like to load. Here we are, Takeshita Street. This is the main entrance of Takeshita Street that you can see from Harajuku station. And when you go in, it's a fairly narrow street, kind of crowded. Not all the time, not always just crowded, but still fairly crowded. Very stylish street. Some fashionable chains like Wolfgang Puck Express, quote unquote fashionable. It's got crepe stores, and also it's not loading nicely, but this is punk fashion. This magazine, Kara, is known for doing punk rock style clothes. So if it ever decides to load, which it really isn't, here we are. So this, Lolita clothing, these little stores where you can buy it, you can see sort of like the military, the dark military style outfits in the back. That's what Harajuku is known for as far as fashion. The new station looks like a community college. I would believe that, yeah. Let's go back to traveling with the game. Unfortunately, I don't know if Harajuku Station has a cat manager. I wish it did. At some point, we apparently ended up holding hands to make sure we did not get lost. So we got a little sidetracked because we were talking about Harajuku. But yeah, Meiji Shrine is a major cultural part, and actually, I'm gonna let it run on auto for a bit while I try and dig up some pictures of what's in front of Meiji Shrine. It should be this one. Oh, okay. So the game is taking us to Harajuku, which you saw. I'm going to go pause the game for a bit because I just went into my Facebook account, which I never do, to show you what's in front of Meiji Shrine. So you see these barrels? These show up as you are walking up to the shrine. On one side is wine. These wine barrels were donated for the consecration. On the other side is sake. This is all sake from all different kinds of breweries for, again, the consecration of Meiji Shrine. Rick is very happy about this. Don't know if we can see it any closer because this is a photo I took like in 2014. And it's not like a Google Maps thing where I can zoom in. But you can see all the different barrels have been decorated with like the marks of the different breweries. It's pretty awesome to look at. And as you can see from this barrel compared to this woman's head, they're all bigger than your individual heads. Alright, back to Fashion Town. We just got a crepe. Rick is breathing heavily. So, Japanese style crepes. You've probably seen pictures of them before. They're not like French style crepes. They're usually rolled up into a cone and stuffed with shit. A lot of cream on the bottom. Do not be fooled by these toppings you see on top. Everything like... So, toppings probably go up to about here. Everything else, underneath, that's all whipped cream. So, if you ever decide to go get one of these while you're in Japan, I hope you really liked whipped cream and sweet stuff. Sandwich style crepes suck. Get the sweets one. Yes, the sweets one are definitely better than the savory ones. It's just like this is the sandwich style crepe. Like you can see like chicken, ham, tomatoes, corn. Corn is very popular in Japan. It's shrimp. It's not that tasty. Usually comes out a little dry. Strongly recommend if you do get the sweet ones instead. And I don't even really like sweet stuff. Like you see it laid out like this to show you the inside, the samples, but it does get rolled up in a cone by the time you get it. You got crepes when you were in Italy as a kid, just full of melted chocolate? Were they like laid flat? Like this? Like this Nutella crepe? I definitely had something like this when I was in France. I've only really seen the Japanese like style of rolling it up like into a cone. Like when it's explicitly referenced as the Japanese style. Otherwise it's mostly like this kind of thing, where it's just sort of like folded up over. We stole a bite from her crepe. Kind of? I mean, those are good in their own way too. The thing with Japanese crepes that distinguishes them from, say, a galette, which is a French buckwheat crepe, usually filled with cheese and savories like ham and mushroom, is that it doesn't have the cheese. So there's like nothing really tying everything together. It was difficult to hold. Yeah, I believe that. Dinner for tonight is curry rice. Curry rice is absolutely delicious. We're also learning that apparently Makoto can't cook. While I'm letting it autoplay, let's show you some Japanese curry rice. Because curry rice is the fucking bomb! I love curry. But especially Japanese curry. we're gonna pause her curry mishaps. Like Guinea would have it for dinner every night. I would also totally eat this for dinner every night. Like I even like the retort pouch curry. I'm also really lazy, so I'll eat it more often than not. Katsu curry is curry with the Japanese fried pork chop. This is a really cute curry. But yeah, curry is if you eat it outside, it is often served with katsu, a breaded deep fried cutlet, usually pork or chicken. Also, yeah, I am getting pretty hungry now. But at home, you'll probably have it, if you have it at home, you'll probably have it something closer like this. Rice with, with curry sauce. The meat will already be in the curry sauce. And you'll have like chunks of carrots and potatoes in the curry. You're still bitter over the trendy restaurant offering chicken katsu curry. That was 2 chickens worth of chicken katsu, a pile of rice, and a dipping dish of curry. Yeah, you gotta have the curry. You really gotta. Koyos believes beef teriyaki is the best daily meal. I'm not sure how to tell you this, Koyos, but beef teriyaki isn't really all that Japanese. It's very American, actually. Specifically the teriyaki part. Like, it originates from something in Japan, where the teri is refers to how brightly it shines, like with the glaze, and the yaki is, of course, yaki means to cook. It can mean to grill, to bake, but it just means to cook. But I feel like the kind of teriyaki you like, it's probably more the American or the Islander style, like Guinea's mentioning, where it's a little sweeter. Japanese teriyaki is actually not that sweet. It's very soy sauce heavy flavored. Like if you see negimaki on a Japanese restaurant menu, this includes peppers for whatever reason. But negimaki, which is usually beef, thin sliced beef wrapped around green onions, and then basted with like a soy sauce, that's pretty close to what they do for teriyaki style. It doesn't change the fact that it's amazing. Fair enough. You do you. Eat good food. That's all I ask of you, stream. Anyway. Her cooking is apparently so bad, we get the negative reaction. And again, we're skipping past all this because we're really here just to travel Japan. Do they have sake wrapped in vodka? It kind of sounds like what you're asking is for an inverse sake bomb, Rick. Oh, okay. We may not be able to go to Ikebukuro, because it looks like we're heading off to Kyoto. This also means we may not be able to get to Tsukiji. What's the name of the fish pastry? Taiyaki. Let's go ahead. I'm going to just set this on auto while we do this. It sounds like he's peeing. Oh, we got a cutscene. She was watching a scary movie and we scared her. Anyway, here's taiyaki. I'm pretty sure this is what you meant. Fish-shaped pastry, it's got red bean inside. Sometimes you'll have versions with like cream inside as well. And it got really trendy in New York a few years back, where they put ice cream in there. Why are you screaming? But yeah. You'll also see things like obanyaki or imagawa yaki, which is the same kind of thing, but in a round cake shape instead of a fish shape. We're gonna ignore the screaming. Yeah, the custard cream ones are pretty good too. And also, when I was last in Japan, they made croissant taiyaki, which was basically a puff pastry version of taiyaki. Like, you can sort of see the cross section, I guess, if it decides to load. Here, puff pastry in the fish shape with the same fillings and stuff. I don't know if it's still popular. Like, I'm remembering it from when I went in 2015. I do live in NYC. I do. That's why I can ignore the screaming. But yeah, like as you can see, it had its own little thing. Yeah, this was like pretty popular back in 2015 during the 25th. Oh, looks like we're about to head into day 4 in Kyoto here. So it was really popular when we were in Japan for how do I get out of here? I apparently cannot get out of... There we go. When we were there for the Yokohama Arena concert. Not a problem, Pancat. Have a good night. Rest well. But I'm gonna let you in on a secret about these. Okay, I don't know what chili taiyaki is. Apparently an April 1st joke. These aren't really that great. This croissant taiyaki. It was apparently popular enough to go like into Thailand and shit. But just stick with regular taiyaki if you get the chance. The cake-like texture of regular taiyaki is much better than the flaky puff pastry of this. When's the Outer Tokyo expansion for this game? We're actually about to head to Kyoto, P. So we are actually leaving Tokyo right now in the game. They're about to get bento to get on the train. While I'm putting that on auto, you can buy these little boxes, Ekiben, train station bento, like in the stations. You can even buy them right there on the platform. There are even little kids versions for like the Shinkansen. The fancy station bentos are really good. I will have to take your word for it. I actually sadly have never had one of these. I was just never hungry by the time we got there. We're passing by Mount Fuji on the train, which is why I clicked back into the game. But here we are. Train station bentos. All sorts. There are actually books dedicated to train station bentos. There's even a special Hello Kitty bento. And here we are in Kyoto. Kyoto used to be the old capital of Japan before it got changed over to Tokyo. Well, it's currently known as Tokyo. It was known as Edo back then. Anyway, somehow, even though while we were in Tokyo, one of them had to stay home at all times, now that we're in Kyoto, they can both come. Kyoto uses buses to get around much more than trains. First, we're heading to Kiyomizu-dera. Anything that ends with dera in Japanese is a temple. Dera, terra specifically means temple. Jinja means shrine. Thank you for the following, Noob Call. We're just joking around doing a trip to Japan based off this game and my memories and Google Maps as we're about to click here. But I hope you're enjoying. So Kiyomizu-dera also has a high elevation platform and is one way and will not let me go any further. We did good. How do I get back? Here we are. Here's the inside of Kiyomizu-dera. It is not a very good view of it. Slightly outside. As you can see, it's a little elevated. So you get that nice mountain view. It was under construction when you went there. It was probably under construction when I went to Kyoto as well. I didn't get to really go here. We went to Kinkakuji instead. It's not letting me get to this particular street view that I want to get to. It's just sending me all over the fucking place. Alright, well, here's the front of Kiyomizu-dera. And you can see the buildings down below to give you that added sense of elevation. And before Twitch auto bans me for the manji. The manji, I don't need to explain this to you of all people, Rick. The manji are what the Nazi symbols were based off of, but the Nazi actually flipped the manji. So these are safe, technically. But Rick knows that, he's just giving me shit. You used it too in Finland? I imagine it's hard to use it now. So there's a saying in Japan that to jump from the stage at Kiyomizu. As you notice, because it's so high, it does take a lot of courage to jump from it. We are now at the Otowa no Taki, the Otowa water, quote-unquote waterfall. This is what it looks like in real life. This is still part of Kiyomizu. Each stream confers its own blessings. From right to left, they confer academic success, health, and love respectively. And supposedly if you drink from all three, you will be denied the blessings of the water. Which we just did, so we're fucked. The types of places with the elevation differences are so cool. Then you'll probably enjoy it if we go to Arashiyama and the bamboo forest. Ah yes! My boy, Kinkakuji! Kinkakuji is known as the Golden Temple. It is also not loading in Google Maps for whatever reason. I am quite disappointed right now. Give me that Golden Temple. Alright, so this is Kinkakuji. Here's the Google Maps version of it. As you can see, it's got a lot of the pine trees around. It is also a very crowded tourist spot. And if you'll forgive me for one moment while I dig up my personal pictures. You wonder why it's called the Golden Temple? I know you're giving me shit. So, if you read Japanese literature, of any sort, the Temple of the Golden Pavilion, or Kinkakuji in Japanese, written by one Mishima Yukio, is fairly famous about an aesthetics obsession with Kinkakuji and how it's golden. I'm trying to like bring up all the pictures I have of Kinkakuji right now. So bear with me one moment. because I took a lot of pictures of this shiny golden temple, and also something that I want to point out, which is why I'm doing this. Alright, here we are. There we go. So this is Kinkakuji. You can see it's very golden. This is all gold leaf. 30 different photos from only one side of the temple. Yeah, it only really lets you see like a few sides of it. You can't go in. You absolutely can't. I don't know if you can see it very well, but it is topped with a golden rooster. Phoenix, technically. But my friends and I call it the golden chicken. Here's a slightly different angle where you can sort of see inside the pavilion. This actually got razed down during one of the wars. And then it was rebuilt and relieved. But it's really crowded, so it's very hard to see, to take pictures, good pictures from multiple angles of Kinkakuji. The little island with the 2 pines. That is Rick's jam. The little island with the 2 pines. So this is talking about the monk who committed arson. That burned it down, which is what the subject of the book Kinkakuji is about. They mentioned the novel here. You'll build your own goddamn golden temple. That sad moment when Ginkakuji is not silver. That is true. Hi, Hiroyo. Kin means gold and Gin means silver, which is why Hiroyo is mentioning Ginkakuji not being silver. They're also talking about the different dialects of Japanese. Usually in games, you'll hear primarily Kansai-ben and Tokyo and the Tokyo dialect. Primarily Tokyo dialect is what you'll hear. Kansai-ben is stuff like where they replace san with han. And the Kyoto dialect actually has a little extra different. You'll primarily see it used with, say, the geisha in Gion, which is where we are in the game. And which is not loading in Google Maps for me. Come on, we can do this. Gion Machi. Here's Gion. Gion is known as the street of the geisha and the maiko. And the maiko. Maiko are sort of like baby geisha. They're geisha in training rather than baby geisha. If you've heard or seen of Memoirs of a Geisha, apparently, one, yes, it is embellished, but two, the geisha are not very happy with the geisha who gave the author the information, because geisha life is supposed to be kept very, very hush-hush. Sadly, there are no geisha to be seen in any of the Google Street Views. The game, however, will talk about geisha, or maiko at least. But we don't get to see any. You probably have some idea of what a geisha and a maiko look like, because it's pretty ubiquitous with Japan and its culture. They do have to do that makeup because the porcelain face is the Japanese standard of classic Japanese standard of beauty. Probably still is because they still value pale skin unless you are a Yamamba. I just had to bring that up again. Not sorry. Do they still use black teeth? Uh, as I'm not a geisha, I cannot tell you for sure. But just based off this picture, I'm inclined to say no. I mean, I don't know how accurate this particular picture is. And as far as I can tell, they usually do smile with their lips closed. But I think the blackened teeth thing was very damaging to their teeth, so they stopped doing that. Like the white makeup powder, it's easier to substitute less harmful things than, say, mercury. But teeth, like you can die from a tooth infection, so you don't want to mess with your teeth. Anyway, we go to stay at an inn. We're trying to skip ahead because this is only day 4. And I am thinking to finish this tonight. Right? And today, we are going to the Ryoanji. You can't tour all Japan in one night? No, that's why I'm using a game to do it for me. Here's Ryoanji. Ryoanji is known primarily for its Zen gardens. Once they do this, you definitely can't step in them. They even do that sign in English for you. Most Zen gardens actually, they do use some sort of firming thing. Like if you see a Zen garden outside of a temple, they'll use some sort of firming thing to keep it in that shape so they don't have to do it every single day. Not in a temple, because this is discipline for training. Anyway, while they talk about Zen, are we going to do it? Are we going to do it? Is it going to be Arashiyama? It is not Arashiyama. Instead, we're going to Kyoto Studio Park. Arashiyama, which I've been mentioning, is known as the bamboo forest. Like bamboo as tall and as far as the eye can see. Instead, Kyoto Studio Park is a little theme park where, if it loads, they film a lot of period dramas, and you can also dress up, like in the classic kimono, like as like say a wandering, as like a villager from the time, or like as a samurai if that's what you so choose. I do not know why there is a ninja thing for the set. Will it let me walk around Kyoto Studio Park? I've never been to Kyoto Studio Park. see if I can go here. So you can see, you can sort of wander around. If they're shooting something, they'll of course keep you away from it. But you can, for a fee, you can dress up. These are definitely actors. I love I love the beard on this one. True Japanese culture, Rick. Am I sure these are actors? You know, with like the dude holding the selfie stick and the bleached beard and shit. Anyway, Kyoto Studio Park, great theme park if you want to like relive, explore a recreation of an Edo period village. And now they're going to dress up. We're just gonna skip ahead past all of this. So she's dressed up in a kimono and she's dressed up as a samurai. I do want to point out that sadly, I don't think that's normally possible in Kyoto Studio Park. They are very insistent that men dress up as a samurai and ladies dress up in the fancy kimono. Anyway, they're joking around and they're apparently gonna have a play fight. But let's move on! We are now taking the Shinkansen back to Tokyo. Actually, we haven't eaten lunch recently, have we? Like, not since Harajuku. We've just been getting by on like 0 meals. Am I really a Bulbasaur? It is still 11:59 p.m. where I am, so yes, I am. Shh, Koyos, no. You can't give away the Ditto's part. I'm trying so hard to blend in as a Bulbasaur. Okay, tomorrow's our last day in the city, in Japan. And Akira here is asking if we want to go to Yokohama. So sadly, it turns out Ikebukuro and Tsukiji will probably have to wait until another stream of this. There will not be another stream of this. Yokohama is not that far from Tokyo either. Like also about like an hour and a half by train. Yokohama is also famously known for the Chinatown. It is the largest Chinatown in Japan. I think Japan has like 3 Chinatowns, one of which is in Kobe, which is near Osaka and Kyoto. And I don't remember where the last one is, unfortunately. We start off Yokohama at Minato no Mieru Oka Park, which literally translates to the hill where you can see Minato. Minato is the name of their main harbor. Minato also just generally means harbor, if I remember correctly. Whack Donald. Yeah, you can't you can't use those brand names. It's Whack Donald here. No Mac, just Whack. Can I get a big whack? So Yokohama is a harbor city. And early on, it was one of the main parts from which foreigners could enter Japan. Like, one of the few parts. Like, places like Edo and Kyoto, like, foreigners were banned from going there. They could come in through Yokohama, though. Which is how part of how Chinese people built such a large presence. And you had them developing their own Chinatown. And as she's mentioning right now, there's a lot of buildings with European influences in Yokohama. Like they might show us the akarenge, which is the red brick buildings. Speaking of Chinatown, you knew they had to. Here's Yokohama Chinatown, complete with the gate that prefaces every Chinatown. The Heaven Gate. These stores all look really closed right now, but it, as you can see, is fairly crowded. If I'm remembering correctly, this was a buffet. Yeah, tabe hodai. All you can eat. I did not get to eat here. I actually ate at like one of the closed stores down this alleyway when I was here in Yokohama. And this store here, it says art trick museum, but everything down there, like once you enter that panda mouth, it's all a gigantic souvenir shop. Art trick museums are fairly popular in Japan. There's one in Odaiba too, I remember. Just like little museums where you go in and it's all optical illusions that you can pose against. There's one such museum in New York right now, actually. Literally called the Museum of Optical Illusions. Nagasaki! That's where the other one in Japan is. We're skipping past this. Mostly because she's talking about the history of Chinatown. But we care more about eating. Oh, she's being Sun. Lady, if you're being Sun, keeps us from eating Chinese food. She's keeping us from eating Chinese food. Alright. Well, I set that on auto. Because we decided to go home. Like pussies. Here's some pictures of Chinese food in Japan. It looks very much like regular Chinese food. Wait, hold on. She's throwing a hissy fit. There we are. It looks very much like Chinese food. You wouldn't be wrong. But the tastes have been adjusted for the Japanese palate. For example, Japan doesn't really like spicy flavors. So stuff like this, ebi chili shrimp, it's actually much sweeter, even though it says chili. Or say mabo tofu, definitely not spicy. This is Szechuan noodles. But for all the red, you're definitely not going to get that mala that you would get from actual Szechuan food. Like you can also see here, this mapo tofu, not as red, definitely not so many peppers as compared to a proper Szechuan mapo tofu. Anyway, apparently since we picked a lot of stuff that had Akira, we're on the Akira route. Does not particularly matter to me. She cut our Yokohama trip short, and I am specifically disappointed in her. Final day! She's holed up in her room. And we're in love after like a week. Somehow she managed to catch us before we crossed through to security. She's speaking in that bad English again. Okay, it sounded like she's saying, please wait for me. Trying for me. And we're back on this plane with unsecured overhead bins. Hope you had a nice adventure in Japan, chat. I hope you're ready for more duffel bags to fall on our heads. And that was Go Go Nippon, my first trip to Japan, version 2016. I didn't save once even, so we're just gonna let that run in the background. So I have music. I can't show you what the game thinks of Tsukiji, but I can still show you Google Maps Tsukiji. So Tsukiji is this little area here is where they sell the fish. You gotta get up. You used to have to get up really early. And even then, you wouldn't really be able to see the actual fish auction. You could just sort of see them take the fish away. But because of the Olympics, they actually closed down Tsukiji. So yeah, the Tsukiji that we see here is actually no more right now. They closed down Tsukiji to build something here for the Olympics that is now postponed to 2021. Like this Vice article is asking, is it really the end for Tsukiji Market? Tsukiji Outside Mart is still there. And this is the Tsukiji Outside Mart. So the Outside Mart is like a series of small streets. Let's see if I can... You ended? Great. Let's see if I can Google Maps some pictures up. Can't remember how to get Street View on. Here we go. That was not the Street View I wanted. But for why? What about the businesses? Again, they were shutting it down primarily. Fuck typing that in Japanese. They were shutting it down primarily to make room for stuff. A lot of the businesses were closed down and moved. There's still a part of it out there. And will they overtake the Olympic stuff post the Olympics? They shifted it to a different place. But when you walk around the outside market of Tsukiji, that's really the important part of Tsukiji. Don't go there looking for the fish auction. Go to the Tsukiji market or wherever it's been moved to eat super fucking fresh seafood. Like they'll have little stalls with like this, samples and stuff you can buy. Or you can go into a restaurant and they'll have gotten like the fish and stuff like straight from the market. So like you can have super fresh, like the stuff, like super fresh bowls of seafood. There's actually a sushi chain that has like 3 different branches right in the outside of Tsukiji market. Again, this is all based off memories from like 6-7 years ago. Because I went to Tsukiji like 2013, 2014. But you want super fresh salmon? Salmon is actually not so popular in Japan. They do have it. You can definitely get super fresh salmon. But it's definitely not as popular of a cut in Japan. Otoro is the jam, yes. If you get a chance to wander any sort of street market, like any sort of market in Japan, it doesn't have to be Tsukiji. Like there's a bunch of them in, say, Kyoto as well. Then I would definitely say do it. Not only is it a blast seeing all the wares, like they also have some cooked foods that you can buy, like little like stalls selling cooked food and stuff. Coffee head shop. And like more often than not, they'll also have samples. And when they have those stalls, they will get their wares, their ingredients right from the stalls all around them. So it's absolutely fresh. Like this is all giant rice balls. Like here's that hand for comparison. This is definitely a 2-handed rice ball. And this is a bit like all sorts of different pickles. What I'm saying is, if you go to Japan, please eat a lot of food. It's the fucking best. Anyway. Oh, shit. I didn't actually save at any point. So I don't think I can load anything. So I cannot actually show you the game's version of Tsukiji. I think. Yeah, it'll only show you the stuff that you've been to. Alright. But it is late for me here. It's like 12:15 a.m. So thank you so much for this weird weird Valentine's Day. Not Valentine's Day. Jesus, what am I thinking? This is your fault, Akira. This is your fault. For this weird April Fool's Day stream. We started off with Slime Rancher. I got motion sticks, so we played marbles. And then we did an impromptu trip to Japan. It was fun. We're never doing this again. Thank you so much for coming by the stream. I am going to see if we can't find someone to host today. But even if you don't stick around, have a good night. I will see you next time. Tomorrow we'll be back, same time as always. It's Thursday, so 7:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And we'll be back with more Mass Effect. Actual Mass Effect, not causes nausea in Mass Effect. In the meanwhile, I think I'm gonna send you guys over to Punchy. You can tell him all about our Weave adventures as he plays Resident Evil 4. It's not Weave in any way, but you know what? You can tell him you've all been to Japan. whereas he probably won't be. I mean, I know I get to do it because I'm his mod. Have a good night, chat. See you tomorrow.